Pathmonk is the intelligent tool for website lead generation. With increasing online competition, over 98% of website visitors don't convert. The ability to successfully show your value proposition and support visitors in their buying journey separates you from the competition online. Pathmonk qualifies and converts leads on your website by figuring out where they are in the buying journey and influencing them with key relevant micro experiences like case studies, intro videos, and much more. Stay relevant to your visitors and increase conversions by 50%. Add Pathmonk to your website in seconds. Let the AI do all the work and get access to 50% more qualified leads while you keep doing marketing and sales as usual. Check us on pathmonk.com. Welcome to today's episode. Let's talk about today's guest. We have Josh Martin with Decision Lens, CMO with them. How are you doing today, Josh?
I'm doing great. Thanks for having me.
It's great to have you on. And I'm sure our listeners are tuning in, wondering what Decision Lens is all about. So let's kick it off with that. In your own words, can you tell us a little bit more, Josh?
Yeah, Decision Lens is a mission-oriented SaaS company that is focused on helping the federal government and state and local governments improve how they prioritize, plan, and fund. Ultimately, they have to better understand We start over. Sorry. Ready to work up. All right. So Decision Lens is a SaaS software company that's focused on the public sector. And our mission and our goal is to help the public sector improve how it plans, primarily with a focus on how they spend their money to ensure that every dollar goes towards their mission.
I think that's super important, but a tricky industry since you have to deal with the government. That's a little bit tricky for marketers at least. But so that way our listeners could get a good understanding of your company, Josh. What would be the key problem then that you solve for clients?
The key problem that we solve for is lack of visibility into the decision-making process, which ultimately leads to less data-driven decisions. And frequently in the federal government, there's a lot of regulation around how you can spend money, where you can spend money, how that money should be spent, and getting clarity into that process, understanding where you are at all times, and ultimately using data to make decisions around resource allocation is really critical. And as we all know, everyone jokes around kind of the state of the federal government, and state and local governments are a little bit more advanced than that. But they frequently don't empower their people with the tools and technology that's right for these types of things. So what we find is most of our prospects are still using Excel or PowerPoint to engage in planning, which, I love Excel, I love PowerPoint, maybe not PowerPoint, but those are not planning tools, right? They're just not. So introducing them to capabilities that allow them to achieve their mission are critical, but also things that they don't know even exist in some ways. So that's the hard part, is how do you build awareness and then drive demand for that awareness?
Definitely, that's great. So then would it be fair to say then, what was there? You let us know, is there a vertical segment? Is there an ideal ICP for you guys?
So we target specifically public sector. That's really the only area that we focus on. And then we look at financial managers, comptrollers, and planners that ultimately are constrained in what they can do by money, which is pretty much everybody, but specifically the people that are allocating and prioritizing the spend of them.
All right, perfect. And so how one of these industries, how would they typically find out about you? Is there, what would you say is a top client acquisition channel for you guys?
There are three. Marketing contributes about a third total pipeline to our business. I think that's a little atypical in B2G. I think marketing usually is less reflective of the pipeline than what we do here at Decision Lens, because frequently those are consulting agencies, right? We are a pure SaaS company, so we are kind of unique in that way. For the marketing team specifically, we have two primary channels, three if you include the website, which we'll talk about in a second, which I'm sure is interesting to your audience. The first is live events. There's still a lot of in-person relationship-driven touch and feel handshaking that happens in the public sector. That's really important. And we saw a big hit to our business during COVID because there were no live events, right? That's why we had to really ramp up our digital engine. Number two is digital channels, right? They're cheap and easy, and the conversion rate isn't great, but you get a lot of volume. You get to build your database with people that are raising their hands. And then the third one is our website. And you mentioned at the top of this call, improve from 2%. I would love to get to 2% on my website. What we find is that we struggle to get inbound interest unless people are really deep in their in their buying process. And while we have the best conversion of kind of leads to ops to wins on our website, we certainly don't have enough of them. So we are constantly thinking about ways to improve that, and whether or not it could improve in B2G, right? It's kind of an open question for us and our team.
Definitely. And talking about the website, like you mentioned, so that way our listeners can get a good understanding of it. What role does the website play for your client acquisition, if any, or is it more of a journey for them?
I think as part of the journey, I think, if I were to highlight the 2 or 3 main ways the website is used, is number one, people will be exposed to ads on other platforms and then come to check the legitimacy of the company. Like, is this a real shop? Have I never heard of you before? And it does a really good job in that regard. But those people tend to be in the funnel at that point. And then secondarily, again, from a validation and proof of value perspective, there are people that are in an actual sales cycle that are not just in the awareness phase, that do come to the website to evaluate and understand kind of who we are, what we do, what is our history, what are our unique differentiators. The challenge for us is, because what we operate in and compete in is sort of a greenfield space that is trying to, in some ways, create demand for what we do, because people don't know improving kind of the decision-making process is a solution that exists. Figuring out who's coming to the website, like we get a range, right? You get the kind of the budget analysts, the lower level, entry level folks that are benefiting from the use of the software, but are not influencers in the buying decision. And then you have kind of senior level leaders that want to see that kind of big, bold messaging about the mission that we help them accomplish. And threading the needle between those two can be difficult, especially in B2G, where you can't get a customer to say, I'm going to do a case study, or I'm going to write a testimonial for you. Like, those are persona non grata. You really, really struggle to get anyone to go on the record with anything. And that is difficult, but everyone understands that that's just the way it goes.
Definitely great stuff from that, from you guys. Well, let's switch gears a little bit, Josh, and let's talk about you as a leader, you being the CMO there for Decision Lens. What are some key tasks you focus on your day-to-day work?
In the public sector space, I find myself more and more involved in the relationships that we have with associations that are driving value for our organization. So maintaining contact with senior leaders, talking to them about how Decision Lens can help their membership, finding unique and innovative ways, because like every marketing team, we never have enough money to spend on digital or events. How can we get low-cost ways to get in front of our audiences? But then the other kind of key area is, what's our message? How do we go to market with that message? What are the problems that we solve? And how do we succinctly talk about who we are and what we do? For us, we really think about less about brand authority and more about less around brand awareness and more about brand authority. So how do we not only get people to know who we are, but to respect our opinions and perspectives, as if to have a role in the development of that market, right? So I can get someone to know the name pretty quickly, but to get them to respect who we are and know that we are aware of the challenges that they face is a little bit more difficult.
Okay, good. You have the full hand there, plate on your hands there with Decision Lens. But let's jump then into our next section here, Josh. It's our rapid fire question round. So you ready for them?
I'm ready. Let's do it.
Awesome. First off, Josh, what is the last book that you read?
Oof. I should have been prepared for this question. I listen to a lot of audiobooks. I don't have a great answer for you right now.
No worries. All right. Perfect. Awesome. Great. Next up, what is one single thing that your company is focused on at the moment the most?
It's all about lead gen season right now for us in our business. Federal year ends in September. So we really start and hit our lead gen season pretty hard starting in October of last year. And because sales cycles are pretty long with federal government, we are all heads down in terms of generating leads, creating opportunities from now until about the end of May, with any possibility of closing before the end of the next federal fiscal year.
All right. Awesome. Great to hear that from you guys there. Now, if there would be no boundaries in technology, what would be that one thing that you want to have fixed for your role as a marketer today?
I think personalization is critically important for us, and the ability to tie what's happening in the world with our ICP and our customers and merge those together. It's something that we've experimented with using AI and haven't been successful yet, but it's difficult to scale high touch, high impact conversations with people unless you have some sort of technology behind it that is smart enough to ascertain the relevance of the news item with the customer you're targeting or prospect that you're targeting and come up with a message that actually sounds reasonable. And we haven't cracked the code on that yet. But if I could, tackle the news every day, come up with a great email as a result of that and shoot that thing out to the world, I'd feel really good about myself.
Yeah, I mean, all right, great to hear that. Now, Josh, if there's more repetitive tasks that you could automate, what would that be?
I think data management for us is a struggle right now. Like when we want to go and analyze and understand what's happening with our data set, whether it's on LinkedIn or in HubSpot, which is what we use, we have to go in and do it manually, right? There's no insight being fed to us to say, your ads underperformed yesterday, or your database is aging, it's time to do something and send an email. We have to go in and manually think through, how do we maintain integrity of our marketing operation and do that constantly, right? And because our shop is not large, right? We're a SaaS business, but we're not selling thousands of licenses a year. We also aren't getting thousands of leads. So we also have a lot of really small data sets that we're working with, and we have to be mindful of that. So anything that would drip insight to us directly about ways to optimize our marketing efforts would be really meaningful for us.
All right, great. And well, lastly, Josh, what is one piece of advice that you would give yourself if you were to restart your journey as a marketer today?
I think the most critical thing that I've learned in my career is your reputation is really, really, really important, and more than you probably understand, right? So if you work hard, you put in the time, you do good work, you put in the extra time you need to put in, it will pay spades for you in the course of your career. And I've seen it time and again, both with myself being hired other places, but also the people that I hire. Those that I've worked with in the past that do a good job are the first people I call whenever a new opportunity is available. And in fact, one of the people on my team right now is someone I worked with in a previous job. And when the opportunity to work together came together again, I called him up and said, hey, we need someone to do demand gen for us. Are you on board? And he came on board, and it was a great win for us. He's been here for 2.5 years now. And the next time I have an opening, the first people I will call will be people I've worked with before that I know will do the job and do a good job. And I think building your network is really important and meaningful.
Definitely some great stuff there. Thank you so much for that advice for our listeners, Josh. Well, Josh, thanks a lot for being on the show with us today. I do want to give you the last word. If someone forgets everything about the interview today, what is that one thing they should remember about your company?
For Decision Lens, we're really trying to modernize how the government plans, prioritizes, and funds. They are reliant on antiquated technology and a staff of people that are working their best to optimize how we spend and ensure taxpayer dollars are used effectively. But sometimes they just don't have the tools to do that. And we're hoping to be the tool that allows them to achieve those goals.
Definitely great stuff. Well, thank you so much, Josh. For listeners, you could always check them out at decisionlens.com, modernizing how government prioritizes plans and funds. Thank you so much for listeners for tuning in. Looking forward to our next episode at Pathmonk Presents. Thanks, Josh.
Thank you.